And this week's 5 questions guy is Scott Freeman. First question came from an alumnus, Bill from Marietta, Ohio. He graduated in 1963. Wanted to know, when you were coming out of younger levels of hockey, was it a tough choice whether to go the college route or did you ever give major juniors any consideration at all?
Yeah, I guess growing up in Ontario, you know a lot about the OHL and a lot of friends and family that kind of have played there, and it was an option. I didn't get drafted to an OHL team, so I played Tier 2 and played there for a couple of years, and I just started talking to some NCAA teams, and it wasn't until I started talking to NCAA teams that I had some options to go the OHL route, and it just seemed like a smarter option to choose NCAA, and I'm pretty happy with my choice.
What was the main factor, would you say, as far as the NCAA goes, with just having the degree to fall back onto later in life, or what was maybe the main factor for why you picked this?
Yeah, with the OHL, you pretty much you know what you get. You get a chance to play hockey, but you don't really get the education or the educational support that you get in NCAA. So it's pretty important to me and my family to try to get an education out of this too.
I was going to ask you about, first game you ever played at Clarkson other than an exhibition was against St. Lawrence. I know you guys didn't win that game, but how was that as far as a way to start a college career and to see that rivalry right off the bat, not have to wait 2 or 3 weeks into the season to get your first taste of it?
Yeah, I still remember that game pretty well. I think it was on ESPN UTV, and we played the first game. It was a Sunday night at Appleton, but no, that was definitely a memorable game. You always anticipate a lot of excitement, anticipation for the first game, and it didn't go our way that game, but it was something to always remember.
And being on national TV, was that the first time you were ever on any kind of national TV?
Yeah, I think that was the first time.
Yeah. And I was asked, too, about I've noticed, looking through your numbers, that you've got 13 career points in 14 games against St. Lawrence. Is that just maybe a coincidence, or is there something about their style of play and your style of play that seems to work out well when you play them? Or,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it's just one of those things you look back at the numbers and maybe you think a little too much into it. It might be their small rink, too, just being around the net. Yeah. But I like playing them, and I definitely, I don't know if I prepare any differently, but it's definitely fun to play them because it's such a big rivalry in the North Country.
Is that something whenever your career's done here that you'll maybe take some pride in, that you always seem to have pretty big games against that school? I would think if you're going to have a lot of stats against one particular team, that'd be maybe the one you'd want to have them against,
Yeah, for sure. If I had to pick one team who I'd like to hurt most offensively, it would definitely be St. Lawrence. Yeah,
I guess the fourth thing I was going to ask you about was, you've done a lot of off-the-ice stuff since you've been here, mainly with Camp to Come to and stuff. How's that helped you, as a person? How's that been part of your maybe growth as a person from when you first got to campus to now being part of stuff like that?
I think it's something I'm going to be very proud of when I look back on my Clarkson career. I've worked with some pretty good people, and guys like Grant Klitzum and Mike Williamson, and now we got Jake Morley and Pete Masser, and Ben Sexton's actually going to be helping out this year. But it's such a good cause, and every year when those kids come into the rink and the chill, and we get to meet them before and after the game, it's very special for just to be a part of it.
What do you tell when you're trying to find a newer guy to join in? There's always a freshman that comes in. What have you told those guys about the benefits of doing it? Because I'm sure that maybe some people might initially think, well, it's going to be a lot of time, and
Yeah, well, we usually meet as the chairman, the reigning chairman, and try to pick a responsible guy who might have pretty good social skills to be able to talk to media and deal with children with some cancer problems. So I think Ben Sexton, he's a good choice, and I'm definitely very privileged to be a part of it.
And the last thing I was going to say, I like to do my last question, I like to put somebody on the spot a little bit. And there's been a couple times in the last years where forwards have had to play defense because of injuries. I was just curious if there was ever a situation where a lot of forwards were banged up and they had to bring a D guy up. Who do you think would do the best job as a forward out of your D unit?
Well, there's probably two answers to this. Yeah. The best guy would probably be Rufinak. He basically plays forward and defense out there anyways, but he's got a lot of good offensive instincts and skills, and he's pretty good at putting the puck at the net or in the net. So I would say Brian Rufinak. Yeah.
Did you have another? You mentioned two possible people.
Tom Pizzo. He's played forward a couple times, and he's pretty good on the walls, and I know he's chipped in a bunch of goals around the crease, so he's good at finding those loose pucks and chipping them in.
Does his long hair slow him down at all?
No, I think maybe his mustache nowadays might be the one that slows him down.